This right here is a rustic, old-fashioned log cabin that I built in the Alaskan wilderness from the very trees of this forest. I'm gonna show you how I built this from start to finish, and then put our cabin to the test by sleeping in it while battling the elements of America's last frontier. This is one of my favorite builds that I've ever done on this channel, but little did I know that it would also be one of the most backbreaking, rugged, and downright scary experiences of my entire life. And this epic build all takes place in
Homer. Hardly know her. I'm out here on the beautiful Kenai Peninsula of Alaska. The birds are chirping, the moose are grumbling, and this meadow here in the forest is the building site for my very own log cabin. The only problem is I don't know the first thing about building a log cabin, and it's not like some kind of master cabin builder is just gonna fall out of the sky.
Did somebody say log cabin?
This crazy guy is Atz Lee, a third-generation Alaskan homesteader and co-star of the long-running hit Discovery show Alaska: The Last Frontier. He's built more log cabins than just about anyone on this planet, and he's gonna be my mentor as we bring this awesome project to life in the woods surrounding his remote Alaskan homestead.
I've built over dozens of log cabins.
Over dozens, that's what we like to hear. And when did you build your first one?
Yes.
Atz Lee's basically my Mr. Miyagi of bushcraft.
Axe on, axe off.
That's what I'm talking about.
But before we can even get started with logs, I need to make a flat foundation for the cabin to sit on.
I think the size I've landed on for this cabin is 10 by 10. That seems like it'll be big enough to feel spacious, but small enough that I can get it done at least somewhat quickly.
And because flat ground doesn't exist in Alaska, I had to remove a big chunk of sod to take things from Alaska flat to Nebraska flat, and the result is the perfect foundation.
Yeah, looks like a cabin could go here. As you can imagine, if you're building a log cabin, the first thing you're gonna need is a lot of logs.
That checks out.
So the perfect log for the cabin is gonna be something that's about 8 to 10 inches in width and is preferably already dead. That makes it lighter and easier for you to carry, and you don't have to cut down a living tree. This right here is the perfect example. And then another 100 and you'll be good to go. Grab this axe, you take down that tree. I'm gonna go out yonder and take one down too. We'll see who can get one down first.
Roger that. Let's make it happen. A dead tree hates to see me coming.
So what he doesn't know is that I already got a huge pile of logs 2 months ago. We're gonna have so many logs we won't know what to do with them. He's gonna be super surprised and stoked. But he's gotta prove his grit first. And this is the way that he's gotta do it. Chopping it down by hand. Come on.
How's it going, Atz?
Better hurry up. I'm going fast over here. He's over there with a hand axe doing it like a savage.
There's no chance he's making more progress than me.
I don't know about you, but I'm working up one heck of a sweat. Salty.
Looks like a beaver just had an all-you-can-eat buffet. Timber! One down, 100 to go.
He thinks he goes hard because he's from Wyoming, but it's more like Alaska Junior. Come on.
Wait, what?
That's all you got? I got 100 already and I still had time to take a nap.
He told me he was gonna cut all those logs like a month ago. This entire sequence is just a bunch of bad acting.
And the Oscar goes to...
Yeah, Atz had to cut all these before the snow melted because it gets too swampy in the summer to move around. It's like I ordered a log cabin from IKEA. Some assembly required. Now that we have a pile of 100 logs, you might think it's time to start on the cabin itself, but before we can do that, these need to be prepped.
First part of the process is separating and organizing the logs. You gotta roll out all the logs into a big flat pile so you can see which ones are biggest and smallest.
And since the cabin needs to be built with the biggest logs on the bottom and the smallest logs on top, this step is crucial.
Organizing the logs ahead of time is gonna make things so much easier later on.
For this next phase, upgrade. Chainsaw, unlock. Basically all you're gonna do is fire up that bad boy and come down and pop all those pokey knots off.
And we're doing this because having smooth logs with no knots will make the next step so much easier.
Cutting lots of knots with Atz will give you lots of thoughts.
Say that 10 times fast.
And the final step for prepping logs is peeling off the bark.
The reason we're peeling the logs is not just for looks, it's actually because there's moisture in this bark which will add for rot, as well as giving the chink something better to adhere to. And the right tool for this job is the draw knife. My grandpa Yule gave me this. It built his log cabin, it built my dad's log cabin, it has built my log cabins, and now it's gonna build yours. The most important thing to remember about a draw knife is you just gotta pull. And you're just kinda taking off the bark. Don't gotta get too fancy with it. I'll leave this with you. It's in good hands.
It's in hands.
It's in hands.
And despite having never used a draw knife before, I slowly but surely figured out the technique.
This is so much more difficult than it looks. You have to get that angle absolutely perfect or it doesn't work.
And I did this process over and over and over again.
I'm literally peeling the skin off an organism right now. Is that a creepy thing to say?
I got the 4 biggest logs peeled and set them down in the cabin site. And I'll be peeling logs like this throughout the entire build.
Speaking of which, it's finally time
For
to
the
build.
saber toss.
For what?
For the saber toss. All right, we're getting in touch with our Scottish roots today by bringing back the old saber toss.
The good old saber toss.
It's a super fun Scottish Highland game where you take a piece of wood and you hurl it in the air and make sure it does a full rotation. Prepare to be impressed, laddie.
1, 2, 3. Yes.
Oh, you did something.
All right, laddie, let's see what you've got.
All right, saber toss.
Oh, no. You're a young, strapping ox of a lad. You get the special mega saber. It's
Holy
great.
smokes. This one's like 5 times heavier.
Don't worry about that. You just gotta pull your strength from deep down in your haggis. That thing's totally like 75 pounds heavier than mine.
All right, let's get back to cabin building. So there's dozens of different ways to cut the joints for a log cabin. Some are super technical like the dovetail, some are super time intensive like the saddle notch, and others are basically just giant Lincoln logs. Because I'm an absolute beginner and don't want this to take all summer, Atz Lee is gonna show me one of the easiest ways to cut notches.
So I don't know about you, but I'm a visual learner, so I built this tiny model of the cabin that you're gonna attempt to build.
Keyword attempt.
This notch is one of the easiest because all you have to do is make 2 cuts. You take your chainsaw, make 1 cut here, another flat cut there, and then you just roll the log on. Boom, log cabin notch. Once you have your foundation logs down, you grab another log, you cut the same thing, boom, put it in the same place. Then another one, then another one, then
Another one.
that making sense to you? Grabbed a couple of test logs here to practice on. Basically, it's gonna be pretty simple. Take your chainsaw, 1 cut coming down, flip it sideways, another cut coming this way, that piece falls out, and you're done.
Oh my gosh, that looks so good.
Bet yours is gonna look just like that.
I bet it won't.
Now it's my turn. Now it's my turn. Now it's my turn.
Almost your turn.
Now it's my turn.
Man, I hate to say it, but that's actually looks dang good. It's a vote of confidence because I was, if you really did bad on that one, I probably would have canceled the whole thing. No, that's great. You got a good flat line here. Your line's connected here and here really well. It's the same thing you got to do, except like another 753 times.
That sounds horrible. Let's do it.
Why not?
All right, let's cut notches for real now. Right here, I have the 4 biggest logs that'll be going on the very bottom. These will be the foundation of the entire cabin, so I wanna make sure it's done right. Just making the cuts that'll make or break this entire video. No pressure. I do not feel even remotely qualified enough to be doing this right now. Who gave me a chainsaw?
I put all the skills I just learned to work by carefully notching the first logs of the cabin.
That actually turned out pretty dang good. I'm surprised. Log number 2 looks pretty good. Log number 3, that looks good. Log number 4, that looks just okay. And now we have 4 notch logs that are ready to be put into place. I mean, that's one of the most log cabin-y things I've ever seen, and I've seen log cabins. Everything looks square, everything looks snug. I don't think I could do that again if I tried, but I have to do it again like 10 times, so.
If I didn't know any better, I would say that I did these notches myself. You definitely got your way around with the chainsaw, man. It looks really nice. It's tight. It's got good height to it. The notches, they look top notch. Except for this one looks bottom notch, but this one, top notch. Next thing we need to do is add some screws to hold this thing together. We're gonna use these huge Timberlock screws, put 1 in each corner, and that'll secure everything down. So a bear can't tear out you and eat you in your sleep.
And then we started putting down the second layer of logs, where the process would be slightly different from the first because, of course, it can't be that easy.
So because you have like an 8-inch gap here, but this log is only 8 inches, there's not enough meat on this log to cut a notch into. So we're gonna have to now take half of the notch out of the log underneath and half of it on the one on top. Tricky thing about building a log cabin this way is that every log is different and you just constantly have to make adjustments.
And with each new level, we'll be staggering the screws so they don't hit the screw beneath them. Nailed it, or screwed it, I guess.
Well, I have taught you how to sort the logs, how to take the knots off the logs, how to peel the log, how to make notches on the logs, and more importantly, how to stack and make a log cabin. Proud of you, man.
We grow up so fast.
All right, first 2 courses up. At this point, I think it's time to finally pass the torch and leave it to your own. Just remember, always watch.
Dude's always watching and lives near the North Pole. I'm starting to think he might be Santa Claus. Well, I think this is the part of the show where I do the exact same thing about 40 times and somehow try to make a boring, repetitive process entertaining for YouTube. Let's get to work.
I started working my way upwards, notching and screwing each log into its new home. This was a back-breaking process that took days, but lucky you can just watch this montage.
And of course, throughout this entire process, I'm constantly having to carry more logs down, peel them, and select the 2 at a time that fit best into the next layer. The grind never stops.
I was kind of worried about not having a gym on this trip, but I don't think that's gonna be an issue.
Cause each of these logs weighs 100 to 200 pounds, and I had to carry them all.
I'm nowhere near the cabin right now. I had to hike like a quarter mile for this. I just thought this shot might look cool.
I put in hours and hours of cabin work every day, taking an occasional break to go for a walk.
So I was going for a little walk in the forest, and look at what I just found. That right there is a steaming hot bear dookie. And we also saw these brown bear prints in the mud yesterday. This is a perfect time to bust out something I bought just for this trip.
This right here is a trail cam, and it takes photos and videos whenever it detects motion. Clearly we're not alone out here, so I'm gonna leave this on a little trail near the cabin to see what it captures. We'll check back in on it in a bit.
Maybe it'll capture the Alaska bullworm. You never know.
This thing was really starting to look like a log cabin, and I kept on building upwards regardless of the weather.
In classic Kenai Peninsula fashion, it started raining, so I made this high-tech rain cover for my camera. I need this for the same reason Snoop Dogg needs an umbrella. Faux drizzle.
This is actually starting to feel like a room. I can envision myself living here already, which is good because I will be living here later in the video. I fit nice and snug. I'm thinking bed right here, fireplace, some kind of multi-purpose shelf. It's gonna be cozy.
So I've been checking in on his progress, and I have to tell you, I'm pretty impressed, and it's really coming along. Best part is, he has no idea I've been watching this whole time.
It sure is nice being out here in the wilderness of Alaska, where surely no one's spying on me.
But he wasn't the only Atz checking on the cabin, because his dad, Atz Sr., came to see it too.
Man, looks like we're ready to move in. I heard there was a mortal sin committed at the very beginning here.
There was a mortal sin.
Yeah, I have no idea what that sweet man's talking about, but with me building, he's probably not wrong.
So what's your best cabin building advice you've learned over the years? I got to absorb some of your wisdom.
It always takes longer than you think. If you have expectations, a certain timetable, then you're disappointed. So I think that's the biggest thing, is to have fun and just realize it takes time. Log cabin building, a lot of history in my family. Just to see someone coming up here new to the country, new to the log cabin building, that we can pass a little bit of our knowledge and love of log cabin building on to somebody else, pretty cool. Get this done, then you can build a guest cabin over there.
That should just about do it for the walls. Looks like 11 courses was the magic number. It's actually crazy how much work this took, but dang did it turn out nice. I refuse to believe silly old me built this. That's crazy. I was worried my limited chainsaw skills just wouldn't cut it. I built me some walls. What do you think?
Looks great. It's like you did everything that I taught you. Little did you know, I was actually watching the whole time from the bushes.
Yep, you're just too sneaky.
You get the Kilcher stamp of approval.
Wow, that's like the best stamp you can get.
It's actually the only one we have out here. So how have you been getting in and out of here?
Oh, like this.
That's one way to do it, I guess. David? So I don't think we need to make the actual door right now, because that's going to take some time further down the road. But for now, if we just kind of do a temporary opening, just so we can get in and out with materials and stuff and not have to parkour over the wall every time. So what we'll do is we'll put a couple of braces here, and then we'll cut the opening out about a foot smaller than the door's actually going to be, and that'll just gonna be our temporary in and out.
It's just a whittle bitty door for my whittle bitty cabin.
Anyone home?
Oh, hi, welcome to my humble abode. Just cleaning up a little, got some guests coming.
Well, now that we have an opening, what do you say we put on the roof?
That's exactly what we should do.
But before we put on the roof, I need to grow out some dramatically longer hair and take a quick lunch break. And this is a perfect time to tell y'all about the sponsor of this video, Cal AI. I take my fitness crazy seriously, and tracking what I eat can be a huge help in hitting my nutrition goals, which is why I love using Cal AI. You can literally just snap a photo of your meal and it'll break down the calories and macros for you. I've tried other diet tracking apps in the past, but you always have to type out every single ingredient, which gets super annoying. With Cal AI, I just take a picture and the AI does the rest. From my experience, it's super accurate, but I always double check the ingredients after the scan to make sure it saw everything. And for those of you who really want to dial in on nutrition, there's a great barcode scanner and food database for even better accuracy. That way you're never second guessing what you're putting into your body. If you're serious about making a change in your life, whether it's feeling better, having more energy, or building better habits, then you've got to start being more mindful about what you're eating on a daily basis, and Cal AI is the perfect way to start. Just click on the link in the description and use code RULE for a 3-day free trial. You'll be supporting the channel and giving yourself the accuracy your fitness goals deserve. And now that my belly's full of Alaskan salmon, let's go build a roof. Because I definitely shot this ad in Alaska and not back home in Wyoming 2 months later.
The first step for the roof is cutting the purlin logs. You're gonna be cutting them the exact same way as the other bazillion logs that you've already cut. They're just gonna be a little bit longer.
These logs are going to create an eave over the front and back of the cabin so everything stays dry, and they'll be a really solid foundation for the roof. And now that those are done, we need to build up the rest of the roof, but that'll require some smaller logs that are in the wood pile over yonder. All right, we're on to the roof logs. These are much, much smaller. They're about 5 times easier to carry, but they still need to be hauled down to the cabin and peeled. The only problem with the logs being smaller is it's not as good of a workout. David Goggins would not be happy with me right now.
Who's gonna carry the boats and the logs?
The first thing we need to do with our new materials is put up the gable logs, which are the logs that set the pitch of the roof and fill in the little triangles on the front and back. All I'm doing here is cutting the logs to sizes that'll be larger than that triangle, planing the tops and bottoms flat, and screwing them in place on top of each other. Now it's time to cut out the actual shape of the roof, and to do this, I'm screwing these guide boards along the edges of those triangles we made and using a chainsaw to chop off all the extra material. And the end result are these nice clean lines that define the roof pitch very nicely. And the last thing I need to do on the gables is cut little notches for the ridge pole. And for those of you who don't know what a ridge pole is, it's the heaviest log of this entire cabin that I somehow need to hoist 8 feet in the air all by myself.
Need a hand?
Oh, you're back.
I never left.
That's creepy.
No, that's Alaska. So the ridge pole has the hardest job in the entire cabin. It has to bear the entire weight of all of the roof. This ridge pole right here doesn't get any sexier. I mean, look at this thing. It's nestled into its little home here. It doesn't want to go anywhere. It wants to stay right here. This is its home. You gave it a home. Congratulations.
Wow, I feel like I have a purpose in life.
Well, I don't know if you do, but this ridge pole does.
And now we need to build the rest of the roof. But before we get started, let's take a walk through the woods to check on the trail cam.
So I just came back out here to check on the trail cam, and it captured the craziest thing. A bunch of moose butts for one, but also this big old Alaskan brown bear. You can see it's almost as tall as this stump, and that's as high as my shoulder. We have a big old furry friend keeping us company in these woods.
And after I put the camera back out, a black bear came by and nearly ripped it off the tree. It looks like a big old puppy dog playing with a chew toy. These black bears aren't nearly as scary as brown bears, but I'm still not trying to start beef with one.
That's some extra motivation to build this cabin sturdy right there.
Now you get to start on the rafter poles. You take your rafter pole, you bring it up, screw it down. Take your next one, flip it around so the fat side's up, screw it down. But you want to make sure you have the top fat side and then small side. Fat side, small side. Do that for days.
That's time consuming.
That's Alaska.
I laid out all the roof logs flat and organized them in the way that they'd fit together the best, and I must be the roof's father, because I'm about to raise it.
We worked our way across the cabin one log at a time, putting a screw in each top and each bottom.
And the great thing about this is it doesn't need to be anywhere near perfect. We'll be putting sod on top of it later, which is a super forgiving material, so there can be lumps and bumps, there can be gaps between the logs. It's totally fine. This looks so cool. It feels like something out of Game of Thrones. I've never seen Game of Thrones. I'm just speculating here. As much as I love the look of this jagged roof, the last thing we need to do is cut the overhang to size. The next steps are gonna be so much easier if there's a nice ending to it.
And cutting the roof even made it look so much better.
There we go. The roof looks really nice, and we have some firewood. It's the 2-for-1 special.
Whoa, this is sick. I say that like I'm seeing the interior for the first time, like I didn't just build the dang thing. It's actually way more spacious in here than I thought it would be. Also, it just started to rain, and the rain is coming through the roof, which I don't think is supposed to happen, so we should probably fix that. Oh, a drippy drop just drip-dropped on the lens.
For the roofing material, I feel like we need to go with sod, which is what you see on a lot of really old school cabins. Sod's great in that it's super insulating and looks amazing. Sod is not so great in that you have to dig it up, which is absolutely backbreaking work. Luckily, Atz Lee has a new tool which makes it slightly less backbreaking.
This right here is a sawzall because it saws all. First thing we gotta do is rake all this dead grass out of the way, and there's a rake right here. Get the dead grass out of the way so you can see the ground. Once you got the grass out of the way, you take your Sawzall and start cutting. Peel the sod back, and voila. One piece done. Do that again and again and again until we've got enough for the roof.
It's like Minecraft. I've actually never played Minecraft. Is that even legal to be a YouTuber who hasn't played Minecraft?
Yeah, I'd probably just call it quits.
Yeah, I'm deleting my channel.
I got to work on cutting the sod one piece at a time, and then I carried it to the pile where we were making a big ol' sod stack.
And we're out here cutting the sod at Marcus and Anna's place, who are some nearby homesteaders who have lush fields that are perfect for collecting sod.
These two built their very own off-grid homestead where they harvest solar power, grow their own food, and live off the land.
In the greenhouse, we had a bear try to come in here. Look at that paw. Stuck his head right through here, I bet. Had fish inside of here. Not gonna do that again. I hope you don't find a moose on top of your roof eating the sod.
That's what happened to us when we built our roof cellar. We put a sod roof and the moose started to show up on the roof.
Wait, moose show up on the roof?
Yeah. If you plant good moose food on your roof, you might have a moose show up on your roof.
And after we were done collecting a pile of good moose food, we loaded it up in the ATVs to transport back home to the cabin. Just getting around out here in the summer is a challenge of its own because the landscape turns into a big muddy swamp that Alaskans call the muskeg. One piece at a time, we unloaded the sod next to the cabin, which took the better part of an afternoon, but our new roof was ready to be installed.
All right, now that we have our sod, let's go ahead and throw her up on the roof.
Sounds like a great idea. If you want your roof to fall off.
What?
Funny thing about gravity is if you put it on right now like it is, it'll just slide right off. So what we're gonna do is take a slab like this, screw it up there, and that'll keep the sod from sliding off the roof.
Gravity isn't stealing our roof. Sir Isaac Newton hates to see us coming. Now that we have our slabs, let's throw the sod up on the roof.
Sounds like a great idea. If you want your roof to leak,
are you freaking serious?
Water will go right through the sod and you'll be soaking wet in bed. That's why we're putting down this. The membrane. The membrane is totally waterproof and self-healing, so that'll make sure that the cabin stays nice and dry inside. Pretty simple process. We're rolling out the membrane, stapling it down to the logs, and then when it's done, waterproof.
And it's only 11:15 p.m. I mean, where else in the world can you be working at 11:30 at night with your friend building a fort in the middle of nowhere?
Norway, Sweden, Finland, Iceland, probably northern Russia,
Southern New Zealand,
Canada,
Antarctica, but besides those places, there's nowhere else.
Now that we have our membrane, let's throw the sod up on the roof.
Sounds like a great idea. If you want sod on your roof.
That's exactly what we want, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
We started building the roof one sod slice at a time, with me lifting the pieces up and Atz Lee positioning them. The roof started to look more and more like the ground, and we only stopped working when it was time for a quick lunch break.
You can eat sod too, it's okay. Don't be afraid of it, it's good for you. There's minerals in it, and worms, and little bugs, and it doesn't taste bad, it's pretty good for you.
We did the exact same process on the other side and powered on through until this messy workday was complete.
Y'all want to hear a dirty joke? Why'd the astrophysicist go digging in the soil? Because he was looking for wormholes. Get it? It's a dirty joke. Because it's about dirt.
This seriously looks like one of those little cabins in Iceland. The roof turned out so cool. This right here is everything I hoped and dreamed for going into this build.
How crazy is it that there's about 2,000 pounds of dirt above my head right now? It's already cooler in here. I feel like some kind of root vegetable.
You look like one too. You're looking beat. Kind of dark in here. Just like my mind.
But we should put in a window.
Windows. For this, we're gonna use plexiglass, just like the old trappers did back in the day.
I don't even believe that for a second.
Good, you should. What we're gonna need is an opening about 4 inches bigger than the window on each side.
But isn't it just gonna fall out?
Glad you asked. While you were building the walls, I went to the sawmill and made you some window casing.
You would have a sawmill out at your place, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, doesn't everybody? You have your materials? Here's a chainsaw. Best of luck.
Well, call me a software engineer because I'm about to install some windows. I've made some variation of that joke in like every video that involves windows, which is almost all of them.
Let's cut out a window.
Check it out, you can see through the wall now. That's some crazy technology right there. I think this milled wood makes it really pop. I thought about putting some log slabs around the edges as trim to make it look more natural, but I actually really like it the way it is. Now we're on to the door. If you remember from earlier, this right here was just supposed to be a rough opening, and we'd add a full-size door later on. But here's the thing, I've actually really started to like this door because it's proportional in size to the cabin, and I look very silly going in and out of it, which is a huge bonus. That's how I make my architectural decisions right there, folks. Do I look silly enough using it? So screw it, let's make a tiny little door for our tiny little cabin. And my first step is to cut some of the milled 2x6 to the width of the door and put one on the top and bottom.
And now that those are on, we need to build the door itself.
I chainsawed some scrap logs to the height of the door, and I secured them all together with some miniature slabs and screws.
And now comes the fun part, because I'm gonna make a hinge system for this door entirely out of wood. First, I'm removing these top and bottom pieces and lining them up with the door. Then I'm drilling a couple holes with a spade bit that line up right with the center of this log.
And now I can take a couple of these wooden pegs and put them right where we drill. Let's put the whole thing back in the opening and see if it works.
Oh my gosh, it is actually perfect. This is just the cutest little door there ever was. And check this out, since the whole thing rotates on a circular log, you don't have to worry about corners like you do with a normal door. Anyone who's built a door will appreciate that.
I added some slabs to hide the casing and built a door handle from a random stick lying around. I added some door stoppers so it could be evenly closed and used some scraps to build a makeshift lock system that may or may not be strong enough to keep Bigfoot out. This thing actually works surprisingly well.
One thing I forgot is adding the casing and door would shrink the opening even more. It was already small, but now it's hobbit sized. But hey, it turned out looking pretty dang awesome. I'm not complaining one bit. Now it's time to get started on the inside. Let's make this cabin cozy. The first thing I want to add is the bed, because that's what'll take up the most space. I'm thinking it should run along this side so I can sleep facing the door, and that way when a bear comes in, I can look it in the eyes as it eats me alive, like a man. I'm keeping this as simple as possible. One 2x6 goes on the back, one 2x6 goes on the front, and a bunch of slabs go over both of them. All right, it's probably a little taller than you'd expect for a bed, but I'm probably a little taller than you'd expect for a guy who makes videos primarily about small living spaces, so it all checks out. Throw a sleeping bag on top, and I'm one tasty human burrito, the snack that smiles back. Now for the stove.
Well, no log cabin is complete until you have a heat source. And since you have a cute, tiny little log cabin, you now have a cute, tiny little wood stove. Most wood stoves, usually the pipe goes straight up out of the roof, but because of the weight of the sod and the snow that's gonna be hitting on it this winter, we decided it'd be easier to just go straight out the back.
And that way the cabin's gonna have a little tailpipe.
What a tailpipe sounds like.
Was that a tailpipe or a tugboat?
Not sure. The nice thing about doing a log cabin construction is that if you need a hole somewhere, you just do it. You need a window, bam, cut a hole in the wall. You need a wood stove pipe, bam, cut a hole in the wall. We're gonna take the chainsaw, remove these two logs, make a hole, stick the tailpipe out, wood stove installed.
Is that for like Amazon Prime delivery or something? You know they don't get out here, right?
Cabin tailpipe. Vroom vroom.
Back here we got ourselves a V12 engine come down with a big trolley tuned. You get tuned up to 14,445, 18,000 horsepower. This thing's gonna give a vroom vroom vroom. You know what I'm saying? Wow!
Now we need to fill in the gap between the logs in this pipe, and to do this, I actually have a very special guest showing up. You guys are in for an extra special treat because helping us out with this next step is The Rock. Atz Lee, bring him in.
The Rock. We have the stovepipe coming out the wall, that's great, but if the stovepipe touches the wood, it's putting David in danger of burning to death in his sleep, and that would not be good. So we're gonna take these rocks, use them as insulation so the stovepipe won't touch the wood, and that way David won't catch on fire.
Nice. That's a rock pun, but only the nerds know it.
Well, and the good news is that you're not gonna wake up screaming for your life tonight, burning in a fiery blaze as sod engulfs your flesh and you just die a horrible, painful death.
Great. Hey, all I know is I want to die peacefully in my sleep like my grandpa did.
Nice.
Not screaming like all the passengers in his car did.
It's horrible.
If I was gonna be living in here long term, this is the point at which I'd chink all the gaps around the cabin, but honestly, I did a pretty dang good job of keeping the logs tight, so for our purposes, it'll be just fine as is. And to keep the rain out, I'll just put this nice little stove cap on. The last thing I need to do is put a little seat in the corner to finish up the inside, and just like that, the cabin's complete. I remember when this field was nothing more than an empty patch of grass, and over the last month, we've transformed it into a wilderness fortress. It looks so much more epic than I ever could have imagined imagined, but the question is, will it function? To find out, tonight I'm gonna have a catch and cook dinner and then sleep in the cabin. But in order to catch and cook, you first need to catch. So let's head to the lake.
And off I went to catch dinner.
This right here is Caribou Lake. Hopefully there's some fish in there too. Only one way to find out. Atz Lee has this nice little pack raft I thought I'd take out onto the lake, but it's super windy today, so this is gonna be one heck of an adventure.
All right, let's get out there, see if we can catch some dinner. And within 10 minutes, I had a fish on the line.
Oh, snap. Oh, we got one.
This is called the Dolly Varden. Better watch out. Might start singing about its 9 to 5.
And a few casts later, I had another bite.
All right, fish number 2, another Dolly Varden. This one's looking a little bigger than the last. We love to see it.
I stayed on this beautiful lake for a while longer, but it seemed like my luck had run out.
Well, it ain't much, but that looks like a nice little Alaskan supper to me. Let's take these guys back to the cabin and cook them up.
There's nothing quite like cooking a dinner you just caught at a cabin you just built. That's the Alaskan way right there. Put some lemon in there, season it up. Oh yeah, that right there looks amazing. The meat just falls right off the bones. That might be my favorite fish I've eaten on this channel. That's super good. I thought this was supposed to be a survival video. What am I doing out here with a 5-star dinner? Also, at the time I'm recording this, the news just came out that the absolute GOAT of Alaskan survival, Luke from the Outdoor Boys, just retired from YouTube. So to pay tribute, I feel like it's only right that I got a little extra something to go with the fish.
Warm fresh bread with honey butter.
Fly high, King. You'll be missed. I mean, he's still alive. He just finally went indoors or something. That's actually so good. Dang, I turned those fish into skeletons. One of my favorite little snacks is whole lemons with the rind. Am I a freak for that? Well, folks, it's almost midnight, which is about when Alaska starts getting dark this time of year, and it's time to start winding down. But oh no, I forgot to collect firewood, so now I'm gonna freeze. April Fools, I have more firewood than I know what to do with because we still have this giant scrap pile from the build.
So I got to work on chopping some pieces up for tonight's fire.
I should have just brought the splitting maul. I was going to, but then I was like, oh no, it'd look more survivally if I use this hatchet.
One eternity later.
This one's really gonna split it open. The next one. First try. That's one of the benefits of building a log cabin right there. Complimentary firewood. Fuego. Someone called Billy Joel ASAP because I did start the fire. It is starting to get so cozy in here. The plus side to having a small cabin is it heats up super fast. Fire's only been going for like 15 minutes and it's already toasty. And one more thing. I'm leaving the trail cam out here, so if anything comes wandering by the cabin at night, we'll see it. I can't just leave you guys out here. You'll get eaten by a bear. Nice and cozy. My little cocoon. What was that? All right. Man, this is awesome. Getting to spend time out here in Alaska has really made me realize what a special place it is. It's peaceful, beautiful, mildly horrifying, and one of my favorite places ever.
And now I'm all alone at a cabin in the woods, ready to get a good night of sleep. Y'all, I'm definitely hearing something out there in the bushes, but it's on the side of the cabin without the window. That's so spooky. I put my trail cam out there, so hopefully that'll get a shot of whatever it is.
It is actually dark out there right now.
Okay, I just saw a silhouette go by, and either that's a moose or it's a brown bear the size of a camel, and my time has come. Either way, it's bedtime. Night-night, sleep tight. Don't let the whatever the heck is outside right now bite.
Ugh, what a night. I actually woke up like an hour ago. That was a dramatic reenactment based on true events. Let's make some coffee. Last night was actually really nice. I was worried it'd get too chilly in here, but man, it stayed warm the entire night. That sod roof knows how to insulate. Love me some caffeination sauce.
Well, looks like you made it through the night.
Living to see another day.
When I first met you, I didn't know if you even knew how to use a chainsaw, survive a night on your own, walk with both of your feet. For all I knew, you were some city slicker, but it turns out you've proved your worth. You've done a great job. The craftsmanship is phenomenal. The thing is tight, it's cozy, it's got the sod roof, it's got the wood stove. Built one heck of a nice structure. You were a great student. You learned everything perfectly well, and now you built a cabin that'll last a lifetime.
That's Alaska.
Because we're in Alaska.
That's where we are right now.
All right, that's where we are.
Also, Atz Lee's been shooting his own video about the cabin build for his channel, Kilcher's Last Frontier. It's totally different from this one. Definitely give it a watch.
It's got the bear fight in it.
Yeah, sure.
There's no bear fight.
Well, I'm headed back to civilization. Subscribe if you want to come along for more adventures. See you next time.